Y'all, it's like almost 6 o'clock, and there's still some light outside. Oh man, that's nice.
Hey everyone, hi, welcome to the Evening Reader. Wow, it's almost the middle of February. Oh, yikes. Oh, time is just getting away from me, and so I thought I would try to make a video, and of course it's dark. It is really dark. It's too dark, and these stupid lights. Okay, that better? That's probably not that much better. I don't think it's that much better. Well, here at here at Walter Studios, we run on primitive technology, so sorry. I don't know what to say. I'm still dealing with the dark days, and honestly, I wish that I could have gotten on to do this video earlier, but like earlier as in last week, not just earlier today. But yeah, man, I don't know why I'm looking out the window because I'm thinking about work. Work's been really busy. Work's been so busy, and other things are going on. Like I've been reading. I've got a couple of buddy reads this month. Actually, I've got like 3 buddy reads this month. And one hasn't started yet. One starts next week. 2 have already started. I've been working on my writing. I've been working on my book. I completely overhauled everything. And, you know, basically I'm starting over. And so that's been something. And now I'm trying to get back in to some kind of fitness or exercise routine, which is, I mean, it feels great, but it's just getting the time to do it and figuring out what time of day I'm going to do it. When we moved here in 2018, I was really dedicated. I had like a really dedicated yoga practice, and I practiced like 2 hours every morning and 6 days a week, and was just, you know, pretty fit and strong and happy. And we got here, and I like just kind of quit. I just quit. And then I never really have picked up a regular exercise habit again. And, you know, I'll go through periods like where I will go for a walk in the afternoon or something like that. Or like when the weather gets nice in summer, I'll, you know, have like a month of like, I'll be walking. I was doing really well last summer, and then I started taking the Dutch lessons and doing all the things, and it just falls apart. So, you know, I used to be just really a dedicated exerciser in general, even before I did yoga. Then I just always worked out with a trainer, or I went running, or I did something. I was always, pretty much always doing something. But it just gets harder with work and whatnot. And let me tell you, if you have a routine, if you have any kind of exercise routine, I don't care what it is, don't drop it if you can help it. Like, just don't, because getting back into one is so much harder. I mean, I really enjoy it when I'm doing it, but it's just getting the time to get away from the desk, because like 2 days this week, I didn't even get away from the desk. Anyway, you didn't come here to hear me talk about exercise. You come hang out here to hear me talk about books and what I'm reading. So, I'm not going to do like a full January wrap up. I should do a full January wrap up, but I'm doing this off the cuff because I haven't done a video in so long, and I just felt like I wanted to pop on camera and say hi. And it's already like 6 o'clock here on Friday evening, and I'm going to go in a little bit and make dinner and, have my evening and, do the things. And yeah, but I did have a really good reading month in January, so I can say that much. And I'll tell you what I read. I'm not going to give you a full rundown on everything. On New Year's Day, I started off the year joining Sarah at Hardcover Hearts and many, many others in reading 84 Charing Cross Road by Helene, Hanff. And that was really delightful. I had not read that before. I think I've seen the movie with Anne Bancroft, but it was a movie with Anne Bancroft, wasn't it? Am I making that up? But I did really enjoy reading the book. I fully enjoyed Hanff's voice, especially. I loved the letters and the relationship that developed between her and between the people at the bookstore. And it was a great way to sort of kick off the reading year. I also, that same first week, I read a book called Horse at Night by Amina Cain, which is a book about writing, which I fully enjoyed. Amina Cain is a novelist, and I think she's got a few novels out. And it was an unusual book on writing in that it wasn't like about the writing process or, what to do or how to draft or, character or plot or anything like that. But it was really more, I would say, some meditations on especially bringing the outside into your work and bringing not just scene, but like an experience of a scene, like as in an experience of a sunset or an experience of, just being outdoors or those types of things, or really more sensual experiences, and bringing those into your writing. And probably more things, but I don't have the book with me right now. And, I'm not, I don't know. But it was really wonderful. I enjoyed it. I always like books that look at writing from an angle that's something different than just, the more typical aspects of building a story or writing a novel or what have you. I reread Anne Patchett's Bel Canto, which absolutely was as good as the first time, if not better. I first read that book as a buddy read back in 2003, I think. Yeah, I think it was 2003 with my friend Shala, who I do a pretty regular buddy read with every month or 6 weeks. And yeah, we first read that. It was our first book that we buddy read together. And we both loved it the first time, and we both loved it again the second time. I don't know if I have to take back the fact that I said that I thought Tom Lake was Anne Patchett's best book, because Bel Canto is a very, very different book than Tom Lake. I remember reading an article with her not long after reading Bel Canto, and she said that it was inspired. She was inspired by several things. One was a story that she saw in the newspaper about a group of hostages. One was her interest in opera and a particular opera singer that she'd read an interview with, and I can't remember her name. Sorry, it's Moxie. What you got there? What you got there? You got your string? Yeah, I can't. I will come and play in a second. Hang on. I gotta go play with the cat. Why am I looking that way? I gotta go play with the cat. Okay, let's try this. I just unplugged all the lights back there, and now I've got like some kind of glare. Good grief. Okay. Anyway, Bel Canto. I was talking about Bel Canto. Yeah. So, Renee
Renee somebody was the opera singer. Yeah. And so Renee, that was an inspiration, but also then she had been reading Thomas Mann's The Magic Mountain. And so it occurred to her, that it would be interesting to write a novel about people who are taken hostage and are in a situation where they are thrown together for a long period of time and they can't leave, and what that would mean. So, sorry, that didn't look right, does it? I was just tucking my shirt back and anyway, and what that would look like. So I would say, I haven't read The Magic Mountain, although I confess to, after I read that interview with her, going out and buying a copy of The Magic Mountain, and that I still have, and that I have been dragging around now for the last 20 years. And that I did at one point early on take to the beach with me, because what's a better beach read than a book about a group of tubercular patients in a sanatorium on a mountain in Germany. Nothing says tropical beach fun like that. Anyway, so Bel Canto, absolutely fabulous, just so completely wonderful. Although it was interesting because my friend pointed out that in a way, Tom Lake has a similar kind of theme, because they are all quarantined there on the farm, and so they have to sort of have something to do so that they can relate and ways to get by. And they're trying to get by in a similar type of situation to being held hostage. I thought that was rather astute, and I was disappointed I didn't think of it myself. But that's what reading buddies are for. To cover the gaps. You do it for them, they do it for you. It's just works out. It's a great system. So, what else did I read in January? I read Conviction by Denise Mina, which was one of my books for the Rick McDonnell TBR spin, but not the other TBR spin, which is hosted by the Book Bully and the channel. I'm so sorry, I can't think of the name. I'll put it on the... so there's two TBR spins. They're not conflicting TBR spins. There's no TBR spin rivalry there. Kind of, I think the other two channels had picked up the TBR spin when Rick McDonnell went on sort of a hiatus, and they sort of took over and made it their own kind of thing. And then Rick brought one back, and then they still do theirs, and then and everybody's getting along and happy. So no big deal. But there are two TBR spins. So if you're thinking, wait, what? Yes, there are two. So I read Conviction by Denise Mina. That was my introduction to Denise Mina. I have not read anything else by her. And it was okay. I read that. We went to Edinburgh. I think I talked about that. We went to Scotland for a weekend, and I read that on the trip. It was an easy read for like a trip like that, for reading on the airplane and for, jumping in and out of. It was okay. It was kind of implausible. It's about a woman who's sort of been hiding. She's got a secret identity, and her husband leaves her for her best friend, who is married to a famous pop singer. And the pop singer shows up at the house after the husband and the other wife have run off together, and the husband of the best friend, I'm doing a great job. The husband of the best friend shows up at the house of our protagonist, and his name is Finn, her name is Anna, And Finn comes to Anna's house, and she's doesn't want to deal with him, and she's trying to get rid of him, and so she decides that she's gonna leave and she's gonna go see a friend, and she goes outside, and somebody takes a picture of the two of them. The neighbor takes a picture of the two of them and posts it on Twitter, and the picture goes viral, and her secret identity is out. And so she decides that she needs to go on the run, and Finn decides to come with her, and hijinks ensue. There's a mystery, there's some murders, some things happen. Yeah, and there's a podcast involved. What else? Yeah, I don't know. It was okay. It was entertaining, I guess. Probably the thing that I found the most interesting about it, and that I sort of liked, was that the woman Anna, the protagonist Anna, whose real name is Sophie, I believe, or Sophia, but she still goes by Anna. So because this is like number one in the Anna and Finn series. So anyway, Anna has two daughters with her husband. I think his name is Howard. You can tell it's really stuck. And then it's Finn and Estelle are the other couple, and Estelle was Anna's best friend. And Anna's obviously reeling. Their marriage was already in trouble. She already knew that she was distant and disconnected in some ways from her husband, and that she had a tendency to sort of hide away because of this thing that happened to her in her past that caused her to have a secret identity. But she's reeling because she's basically lost her husband and her best friend at the same time. But it's interesting because, where most books would sort of take a turn, to make the best friend or the ex-best friend then a really horrible person. It would turn out she was a real bitch, or it would turn out that, she had some evil secret, or there was something going on. Instead, Mina decides to have Anna, be very upset, and conflicted, because she has lost her best friend too. She's lost somebody. She's like, this is a person, I didn't have a best friend. I hadn't had a best friend in a long time. And then I had this best friend, and I thought she was the coolest person ever. And then sort of also so naturally my husband would also think that she's cool. And also that, she says it's at several different points in the book that the husband and Estelle have taken the daughters away to help them get used to this idea that they're going to be sort of there's going to be a new configuration in the family, if you will. And Anna kind of agrees to this because she's so distraught, and she thinks to herself, and then of course the hijinks happen, and then she thinks to herself, well, if my daughters have to have a stepmother, or if there's somebody, I'm glad that it's her. I'm glad that it's somebody who is so great and that really does care about them and really will care for them, and is not just, some average person who I don't know, or who may not really care at all about my kids. I thought that was just an interesting tack to take, because you just don't see it very often. Usually it's there's scheming, I'm thinking kind of like Finley Donovan type of thing, where the new wife is just kind of evil and scheming and that kind of thing. And then also Anna says many times, I understand why we're breaking up. We were already breaking up, and I certainly did not want this to happen, but I still love him. And I want to be, a good parent still. And I want, she just doesn't want that conflict. I thought that was kind of an interesting twist that has nothing to do with the mystery really, but I still thought that it was an interesting twist. Anyway, So, so the last thing that I read in March, March? What? January. Whoa, okay. Was this book, Collected Works by Lydia Sandgren. Oh, wow. Just wow. You know, I really, look at me, I have flags and everything. I I feel like, I mean, I'm just going to tell you right out. I'm not going to be able to do it justice. I'm not going to be able to do it justice because I I'll find some other reviews, some people. I know that several people on BookTube have talked about this and love this book, and I'll find their reviews and link them below, and you can just believe them, because I'm obviously rather scattered, and I haven't really collected my thoughts entirely about this book, but oh, I was just really blown away. I thought it was wonderful. And so this is Lydia Sandgren's debut novel. She is a Swedish author, and this is translated by Agnes Broomé, Agnes Broomé, Broomé, I don't know. Anyway, and it's about a man named Martin Berg and his two kids, Raquel and Ellis, and his wife, Cecilia, well, she walked out the door one day 15 years ago and never came back. And her children were little. They were 3 and 7, I believe. 3 and 9. No. 3 and 7. 3 and 7. So more than 15 years ago, maybe. No. Oh, wow. The math doesn't math. Anyway. Okay. Anyway. That's not important. That's not important. So this is told in alternating points of view by Martin, partly in the present day, and Raquel in the present day, but it also goes back into the past to when Martin was young and when he meets his best friend Gustav in school, in what would be like in Sweden, the like upper, like high school, like a senior high. And then they go on to university together, and or Martin goes on to university and his best friend Gustav goes on to study art. And then about how Martin meets Cecilia and how they get together, and then how the three of them form a friendship and a relationship. And then about the kids being born and how the relationship changes and how Martin changes. And it goes very deep into the past. And there's a great deal, I guess you could say it's a great deal of backstory. I mean, I really more, it's like, it's 2 timelines, but it's not fully 2 timelines, because sometimes we're with Martin in the present, and then he's being interviewed about a publishing company. He's now owns a publishing company, and he's being interviewed about writing. And then as he's going through this interview, it's sort of like it'll be what he says to it, respond to the interviewer's questions about writing, and then it will go back to a moment in the past that sort of explores sort of like a similar theme to what Martin is talking about in the present day. And it just is so well done. It's probably, I don't think the present day timeline covers only a few months, maybe. Whereas the past, like I said, it takes a long time. It's a big book. I mean, it's 600 pages. And what can I say? What can I say? If you are a fan of Donna Tartt, if you are a fan of The Secret History, which Lydia Sandgren clearly is a Donna Tartt fan, not only does she actually name check The Secret History in this book, it's just all over the page. Cecilia herself as a character is so much like Camilla in The Secret History, even in the fact that I think there's one point in Secret History where Richard refers to Camilla as Pallas Athena, and Cecilia is repeatedly referred to as, or sort of referred to as Pallas Athena, and it's sort of just all these little echoes. There are so many little echoes in here between The Secret History and this book, and then also I would say like the Goldfinch, and the friendship that forms in that book, and then the friendship here between Martin and Gustav, and then even in the exploration about youth and art and who you're going to become and what you think you're going to become, and how your world, I don't know if you want to say it narrows or it changes as you grow, or how these relationships change. Just, I don't know. It's just absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's not a perfect book, so don't get me wrong. It has its flaws, but they're not very big. And I would say overall, the character development, the characters, and just so much of it is such an overall real mood, that's the kind of thing I like, because it just immerses me in a world, and I loved being immersed in this world and looking at the past and looking and watching Raquel try to figure out what's happening in the present. Raquel's timeline is her father hands her a book that his publishing company thinks they want to translate, and she knows German, and he says, can you take, it's the book's in German, and he says, can you take this and maybe read a bit of it and let us know what you think, and if we should actually go ahead and do a translation of this. And she starts to read the book, and it just becomes more and more familiar and more like she knows who this person in this book is, and she starts to realize, or she starts to believe that the person in the book is her mother, that this character in this novel that she's reading and translating is her mother. And so that sets her off on a journey to see if she can find out if the novelist knows her mother, if this was indeed her mother, and what happened to her mother. And it just is, it's so well crafted. It's just astounding to me that it's a debut novel. But I'm really looking forward to whatever Lydia Sandgren decides to write, because I'll be reading it. And if you have a little Donna Tartt shaped hole in your heart, because we don't have a Donna Tartt book yet announced, then I highly recommend reading Collected Works by Lydia Sandgren. Okay. Well, that's it. That's all I've got for January. So that's all the rambling I'll do about that. February, I'm doing 3 buddy reads. So I'm reading, what am I reading? I'm reading Plainsong, which is the first book in the Holt trilogy by Kent Haruf, and I'm reading that together with Sonia at An Enthusiastic Reader. And we are about halfway through with this particular buddy read. We're planning to read the whole trilogy, so that's going to be exciting. And I won't say too much because it's a buddy read, but I'm happy to be back in Holt, Colorado with these characters. This is a reread for both of us, and it's going well. I think I can say it's going quite well. The other thing that I'm reading with Sarah from Roadworthy and Roz at Scally Dandling about the books is The Singapore Grip by J.G. Farrell. And I am a little bit behind in that, but I have started it. I think I'm on chapter 11 or 12, and I think they're a little bit ahead of me. We're trying to, get through a bit each week. I'll be catching up this weekend. But that's the third book in the trilogy that is made up of Troubles, The Siege of Krishnapur, and Singapore Grip. And then next week, I will be starting a buddy read with Sandy at Miss Reads a Lot, Dea at Novel Idea, and Jem at Gem of Books. And Gemma. I'm sorry, Gemma. And we are reading Italo Calvino's If on a Winter's Night, a Traveler. So that's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to reading that. And it seems like there's something else I'm supposed to be reading. Or it seems like there's something else, but I can't think of what it is right now. I don't think I have 4 buddy reads this month. I think I do have 4 buddy reads next month, though. So it's quite a lot of buddy reading. But it's good. It's good stuff. It's all good books. It's all good. So yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but oh well, that's life. Thank you if you if you're still here. Thank you for hanging out with me and listening to me babble and do this way, way off the cuff, more off the cuff even than usual. Because usually I'm at least thinking for a few hours about, okay, I'm going to do a video this afternoon. And today I just decided I'm just going to turn on the camera and go, or it's just never going to get done. But I want to say thank you for being here. And I just am always so grateful that you would choose to come and hang out with me. So I hope that I will see you again soon. I've got a tag video to do next week. So I will hopefully be doing that. I'm going to try. I promise. Anyway, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend and that things are going well for you in your world and that you're taking good care of yourself and and I wish you the best and I will see you again soon. Bye.